Welcome to Gems with Shom, a show about beat digging, records, and other things. Today we have Rob, late bloomer Geddis,
Yes, thank you. Yes.
record buyer, beat digger with exceptional taste. There's a community of people into records, and I kind of came across Rob on social media. It seems like we have a lot of friends in common. It's our first
Mhm.
time interacting. What I kind of learned about Rob, or what I like about Rob, is he shares these late night posts where he has the greatest taste. And I'm often learning from what's on his turntable. So I really appreciate you joining us, brother.
All right. No, I appreciate you having me, and yeah, I appreciate the kind words about the late night posts for sure.
Yeah. You have a special set of skills. Your expertise is important. You got great taste. So I've been looking forward to having you on.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, definitely.
You're a man of the world. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in New Jersey, born and raised. I grew up in North Jersey in Montclair, which is Essex County, like Newark area. And then when I was 16, um, my mom got a job at Princeton University and we moved down here. And I've kind of been floating in the Princeton capital, like Trenton area, since. But been a few other places, but Jersey is where I'm from. And, like, I love my state. So, yeah,
Okay. You rep Jersey hard.
I do.
Princeton's a beautiful area. Princeton's a really nice part of the world.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I guess the novelty wears off when you like when you spend your high school years there. But I like the town and I like the record store, obviously. So that yeah, it has its pluses definitely. There's worse places for sure, but like I get it all the time. People are like, "Oh, it's so nice," and I'm like, "Yeah, like like the traffic's terrible, like too many pedestrians." But whatever. Yeah, I'm a little jaded, but.
That's all good. So you mentioned the store.
Mhm.
You're a record buyer at Princeton Record Exchange, right?
I am. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a legendary store. I mean, it's famous, and in my mind, I don't know why. To me, it's famous. I mean, it's good. It's great. It's a big store. I've been there, and it's dope. But there's something that makes it like extra known in my mind.
Hmm.
And it's probably known to you, but like I feel like some kind of important records were found there.
Yeah. Yeah. There definitely were. I mean, I think there's a few ways. Like when the store started, 1980, the original owner, he's an interesting guy. I'll leave it at that. I love him, but he's an interesting guy. But he basically, not basically, he advertised in every yellow pages in the country. So like you could be in Los Angeles, you could be in Anchorage, Alaska, you could be wherever, and look up record stores and you would find Princeton Record Exchange. So a lot of people know it through that. Um, and then also we always have and still do deal in like a lot of volume, and like we're affordable. Like yeah, like a lot of places. Like prices have changed, according to inflation and value and all that. But for the most part, we have always maintained like, we want you to be able to come in with $5 and leave with something. Like you can pretty much find like if you have a dollar, you can find something there. And like we've always been like that. So, I think we've gained a reputation because of that volume. Like we move a lot of records. Like I feel like a small portion of like the record economy would collapse in this area because there's so many like resellers. There's like straight up stores who like will come in and like stock their store with records that like we get it at Prex. So it definitely has that reputation. Like you can get a lot of stuff and you can get a lot of stuff for a fair price. It's a pretty there's nothing fancy. Like, like we don't have like a baller wall. Like we have a rare section, but there's no wall. Like, like there's no listening stations, which, I don't love, but, like it's a very meat and potatoes, like no frills, like, I like to call it like, like your favorite record store's favorite record store. Like I can go pretty much, and I have, like, any time I've left the area, left the country, like, I'll tell people like, oh yeah, I work at Princeton Record Exchange. They're like, oh, like, man, I was back there, I was there in '87, and like, like there's definitely like, I know the record, the copy that uh the copy of Galt McDermott that was used for the Busta Rhymes Woo-Ha, like that's out of the Prex dollar bins. Like that's definitely like, he's like, that's one. But yeah, it's it's legendary, and it's been there 45 years. So it's hard to maintain a record store for that long, and especially of that volume. Like it's a lot of records. Like, like I feel like when I tell people that I work in a record store, they have like this idea that it's like, you know, like high fidelity, and it's like me and my two buddies like talking shit about records. They're like, yeah, we do, but like I'm also like, you know, uh, like on a like at minimum, I'm buying 1,000 records a week, and like sometimes it's as high as like 7,000 records a week. Like I'm on the road at least once a week. Like we sell, you know, probably like, I don't know the exact numbers, but probably like 15,000 used records a month. So it's like, it's work. It's not like, it's not like, oh yeah, like let's casual, like, like we're in the van, we're unloading boxes, we're like, like we've been in some place, like I've seen some things, like, it's like it's hard work. I mean, I love it. It's not, there's worse jobs, but it is not the pace of a record store that most people are used to. Like it's, like it's funny, like I'll post something in my stories from a house call that I'm on, and then like a week later, someone will be like, "Oh, like I saw you found that. Like, when's that hitting the floor?" And I'm like, it could be 2 years from now. Like, who knows?" Like, it's a lot of work. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably where it gets most of its reputation, is that like we sell a lot, we're affordable, and yeah, like we're not. I don't know, we're not trying to gouge anybody. Like it's, like like at least for me and in my work there, and like I can say pretty confidently, like the owner and everybody else feels away, like it shouldn't be a luxury, like it's like it's just, you should be able to go with $10 and discover something you didn't know about, like, that's what's important, like, it's like keeping it going, like I don't like I go into a lot of stores, and it's like things are like the highest possible you could price it at, and like cool, like get your money, like I'm not, that's no shade on that, but like, is this a museum, like, like pass it along, like keep it moving, like that's, that's how I feel about it. And I think that's like Prex, we keep it moving, we buy a lot, we sell a lot, and yeah, I mean, I do my best to make sure there's a large selection, so
Okay.
yeah.
You're putting in that work. Putting in that
Yes.
work.
Yeah, quite a bit.
All right. Going back to your earlier comment about Galt McDermott Wuha sample, that's where in the recess of my mind,
Okay.
I
All right.
thought that producer, Rashad Smith.
Yep. Yep. Legendary. Shout out Rashad
Yeah.
Smith.
Legendary Rashad Smith.
Super, very nice guy too. Very, very nice individual.
I always thought he got the record for The Hop by Tribe, Henry Franklin, Soft Spirit there. I have no idea why I think that. It's just in my mind from
I mean,
years
that's
ago.
definitely possible. Like, yeah, like the jazz, especially back in the day. Yeah, it was like, I mean, like, everybody, every record person's like, oh, back in the day, but like, it really, like, I got sort of jaded because that's really been the place that I've spent the most time, since a teenager. But like, you could get crazy records for cheap, and like, yeah, I'm sure they weren't, like Henry Franklin now is going for a bunch of money, but like, I've like bought collections back like while working at Prex with like our old like 99 cent sticker, like Strata East, Black Jazz, like like Stanley Cowell Regeneration, like big old like 99 cent as is, like yeah, it was pretty
Right.
plentiful. Like yeah, I mean I remember like when I was like 17, 18 going in there and like you could get like nothing on Muse records was over like $7, like nothing, like, and it was just like they they really like, there was one guy who priced most of the stuff, and like they always had that philosophy, like just price it to move, like keep it going. So like yeah, man, there was some, I got like I paid like 4.99 for the Carl Holmes investigation, the purple one with the drum break. I like paid $6 for my first Headless Heroes. Like, yeah, like just like crazy. Like, like just thinking back and like I remember, as a teenager being like, I'll never spend more than like $12 on a record, and that was like my cutoff. And like I still like like white label promo Sergio Cordovan, like like stuff like that, like yeah, it was, whew, a time was had. But so, it's still very cheap, but it's definitely not like that, like I price things a little, I'm trying to keep the business afloat. Like I'm trying to make sure I have a future in the business, so can't be selling Holmes investigations for $5, but still.
You obviously have a huge amount of knowledge, not only from working in the store, just your interest. How did you get so deep in the game of digging?
So like, I mean, I as a kid, like, I grew up with records in the house. That was just the format as a child. So, it wasn't like going to the record store is just something, it was like going to the grocery store. It wasn't like we're going digging. Like it's just like, oh, let's go, pick up some albums or whatever. So, that was, I grew up in that time where we just went to the record store. And I guess when I was probably like 11 or 12, um, I watched a lot of MTV as a kid, and then I started watching like Yo MTV Raps, and I had an older sister who was like more cool than me, and like she like she brought home like the De La Buddy 12 inch, and like so I had some awareness, like like I grew up in like hearing New York stations like Hot 97 and Kiss FM 98.7 and BLS, Top 8 at 8 and all those shows. So yeah, like I grew up listening to hip hop, and then on the way home from school, this is when I was living in Montclair, there was a record store called Crazy Rhythms. And yeah, I would just like buy like get $5 for lunch and buy something that was $2, and then buy like a cassette single. Um, and I started listening to hip hop more and more and getting more and more into hip hop. And I think I knew that like stuff was coming from like James Brown and like like funk. I knew the concept of funk, and like I had heard like my mom's records and my aunt's records, like War and Sly Stone. So like I knew that a lot of the music was coming from elsewhere, but it just never, I don't know, never really like it just it wasn't something I was thinking about. And then I remember in my mom's collection, she had a copy of Chambers Brothers. I think it's new generation with like the crazy, like intricate artwork. The guy who does the chakra, new age, I don't know, whatever. It's an insane cover. And I remember listening to it, and the original for I Left My Wallet in El Segundo came on, and it was just like, whoa, like it was just one because I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't like, oh, like I know James Brown, like, it's funky. Like I wasn't expecting it, and I think that's where it really clicked. Like, oh, these like this is like there's somebody out there finding cool stuff to like make into beats. So like that was always in my mind. So this was even, way before I even thought about like turntables or, anything. Like I just thought that was cool. So whenever I buy a cassette, I would like always read the credits, and like just remember the sample clearance and like, just like I don't like it was just something I did. I was, I have a thing with my mind where it's like I like yeah I just want to like yeah I just wanted to know more, so I kept like I always would keep that on my mind way before I even like DJ'd, made beats, anything like that. So I kind of had already had like the cataloging thing in my brain, and then I guess when I was like 14 or 15, I started getting more into like a friend of mine had gotten a set of like BD10s, the the starter kit you would get out of the back of the source. And like, so like one friend had turntables and we'd go and like mess around and like started getting more into it. And then at 16, when I moved to Princeton, I was really heavily into skateboarding and really into hip hop. And those were like the two things. And, you know, um, my my oldest friend, he got a set of turntables and he started making beats. And I remember like the first time, shout out to my man D Flush, I gotta shout him out, my homie for life. I remember the first time he played me like a completed beat, and he sampled, oh god, what did he sample? I'm gonna say Moody Blues. And like, yeah, it was just like the illest thing. Like, I just remember hearing it and be like, damn, you made this? That's crazy. So I was like, all right, I wanna do that too. Cause, I'm a cornball and a follower. No, but I just thought it was the coolest thing. So,
Yeah, let's touch on that for a minute. How did it make you feel to like see someone take an old record and make a new one? What was your impression of that?
um, I mean, we're talking real primitive means. Like, I think at this point, I'm not sure. I think he had like the very, very like one of the like the SP 202s, like but like the old one. And he had that and 4 track, and I remember like seeing him use the SP 202 and just being like, I have no idea. Like, like he had it mapped out and sequenced and all that. And at that point, it just was like magic to me. Like he would press the button, it would light up, a certain thing would play, and then he'd put another one on and play it. Um, and while I didn't know exactly what he did to make it sound like that, I totally knew the concept. Like, like I heard the record that it was taken from. Um, I heard exactly how he like did it in the machine, and like he did it, like, and also like, when he like I guess it was in maybe something influenced a little bit by skateboarding culture, but like like the 4, 5 group of friends I had, because of like it's not a competitive thing, but like you get hyped off of each other. So like I would I was like, oh my god, like yo, that's dope. Like I want to do that too. Like so, seeing that he could do it was like, oh, I can totally do this. Like like all I need is a turntable and find some records and, like whatever, I'll figure the rest out. Like my friend's doing it, so I can figure it out. And he still lived like in North Jersey, so down where I moved in Princeton, we were so souped on what he was doing, me and another friend of mine, that we were like, all right, we're gonna get our own like BD10, like the same out of the back of the Source magazine, like the terrible belt drive turntables, and we got it's like a Gemini, just a 2-channel Gemini mixer, and it had a big circular sample trigger, and you could take like 15 seconds or whatever. And then we got a tape 4-track, and basically what we would do is we would just, yeah, and this is where the record digging, I guess, came. So I was 16 at the time, and I just moved to Princeton, and I'd heard of Princeton Record Exchange because, like, I don't know, a family friend was a record collector, and like they were visited us from out of town just to go. So I knew it was there. Um, but when I moved to Princeton, I was like, oh, I'm like 2 blocks. So like I started going every day, and like I said, you could have like, $20, you just like a stack, So like me and a friend, my friend Alex, who I started with, we would just go and just every day buy like, a bunch of dollar records, a bunch of things for $1.99. And like it's funny because like, all I knew, like I knew the hip hop that I liked and I knew the sound that I liked, and I was like, well, they're sampling jazz. So it's just like, so I just like went berserk, like whatever, like, like Benny, like, like big band and like Dixieland and like all the way up. I would just get like whatever free jazz because I just, I didn't like, I knew what it sounded like, but I didn't know what it was called. Um, and so I guess, yeah, from doing that every day, I got to know the staff, the people working the counter, and then at the same time that I was making beats, I was also like, going along with that, I was DJing as well. So like I was buying a lot of 12 inches, and this is really when like, like underground was popping off, and like, that like I guess at like 14 or 15, I started getting put up on like Stretch and Bobbito and like Underground Railroad, a few other ones. And so like right at that time, like in my late teens, that's sort of when like underground became like a real big thing. So like Record Exchange, there was a uh, guy who worked there, who Darren Revilla, who owns a record store, Revilla Grooves. He worked there and he was a DJ too, and he was a little older. And I would always be like, "Oh, do you have like this, and this?" And he'd be like, "I don't know what that is." And then, he'd get it and be like, "Oh, that's good." And like we just sort of built up a camaraderie. And yeah, when like I turned 17, and had been going to the store pretty much every day, like for a year at this point. And they put up a hiring sign, and I got the job at like 17, which like looking back now, like I'm like, damn, it's kind of a crazy atmosphere for like working there now. If to think like if like that someone would be 17, I'd be like, Jesus, that's like that's yeah. It was an interesting time, but yeah. So at 17, I got the job there, and it was just part time. But that was really when like it kind of like things just set off because I was one of the only I was like the only teen there, so like I was like, oh, like I felt like sort of cool, and also you know I always had that mind state of like, oh, I want to know like what's behind that, like okay, so like this, like I had that mind state. Also, I was buying records to sample myself, so like, and I'm also being exposed to like the music that people who are 20 years older than me that work at the store that they know about, and like rock stuff I've never heard of, and like avant-garde music, and reggae and Latin and like all this stuff. And yeah, I just really like, I mean, I think probably, yeah, I definitely spent more money than I ever made as a kid. um yeah, definitely, like it was ridiculous. Like I remember at one point like I would have my like check garnished because it's like I would have so much stuff on hold that like my boss would just be like, all right, you can take it all home, but like I'm garnishing your check. And like that's yeah, it just went from having like a couple crates of things to like having just, within a month, 2 months, it was like 14 crates. And then, it just kept growing and growing. Um, and then also around the same time, I started doing a radio show at Princeton University Radio. I have no affiliation. I'm not a alum or anything like that, but I had a community show. Um, so I was buying a lot of 12 inches for that. I would go weekly to Fat Beats and like get whatever was new. And then, the university had their record library, and like, it's past the statute of limitations, but like we helped ourselves. We helped ourselves to the university jazz library. So like, yeah, like crazy, like, we went berserk. So I just
I'll
kind of,
just I'll just stop you at that. That's hilarious. First of all, in this story, you've transitioned from being a avid fan to being a professional, even though you were kind of like serving your digging interest, your collector's interest to start, and you were a
yeah,
kid. About the college radio, yeah, I get doing college radio at a college that you don't go. I did the same thing.
yeah,
Was 15 or 16. Did it in a university in a suburb of Toronto. It was a show basically playing all the records that I bought, which were very little at that time.
yeah, yeah,
Like playing Isaac Hayes on the radio was cool to me. And then I just kept doing it. I mean, also with the records at the station, I mean, they eventually gave them away and I took tons.
yeah. Yeah, one of the best, like, I actually, my first tattoo is like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's the Muse Records logo. And their distribution is out of like Somerville, New Jersey, which is relatively close. So Princeton University had like every Muse record, like just like, I think, yeah, I had like every Carlos Garnett, like the Buster Williams, like all the weird ones, the Walt bars, like now they're like people at the Walt bars blows my mind, but the Muse ones especially, like, whew, I took every last Muse record out of the Princeton University library. That those were interesting times, like not being a student, like especially at Princeton. Um, yeah, it was like yeah, it's funny like how you're saying like like I just kind of played what I bought that week, and it was like exactly the same thing. It was like me, my friend Damien, my other friend Sean, who are all still involved in records and music now rather. And like it was basically just like what we would be doing in the living room, just on the radio, like like we would be like drinking 40s and like the lobby of the radio station, or the radio station itself, was in a dorm basement, and the lobby was the only room you could smoke in the entire building for anyone. So we would just come out from like the like playing a record to take a break, and there'd just be like a random like old drunk man, and like like, or like some girls partying, like, or like, one time we like opened the door and there was a guy just like about to take a piss, like in the door. It was just like, okay, like, yeah, but those are good times. Good times.
So what happened next? You're working at the store, you're DJing college radio, you're
Yep.
now deep in the game. You're probably still a young person,
Hmm.
but you've like crossed over, I feel at this point, to the, just being immersed in records.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't. It kind of like I always. I guess at about 21, from 17 to 21, I was working at Record Exchange, and then 21, I was dating a girl, and she ended up, she was going to college in Southwest Ohio at Antioch University. And I remember going to visit her out there, and I was like, oh, it was like a super hippie school. Like, you basically, you make up your own major and stuff like that. And, I was like, oh, I could totally do this. So I applied to college, ended up following her out there. Of course that didn't work out because that's, that's, um, but so yeah, like I at that period when I went out there, I was really full on into, this 21. I had sort of skateboarding had sort of fallen by the wayside. I mean, not I wasn't doing it regularly. And music, like making beats and rhyming, actually like is really like where I was focused. And it's funny because like rhyming was like the first thing that I did as far as like the art of hip hop or anything that was besides being a listener. That was the first thing I participated in, like just trying to freestyle. And so that's what I was doing is I was making beats and I was rapping, and going to school. But
So wait, making beats, right? At that point in time, just the way things were, it was very much based on loops. Like you're
mhm,
looping shit up, drum break. Maybe you'll
yep.
play in the drums on a MPC. What were some of the main records that come to mind? Because usually those loops were typically good songs too.
Um, oof, man, I'm trying to think of loops of that time.
For you, I mean that you looped up.
Oh, so like there's I was really into the compost.
Life is
Got the yeah, like the Life is Round, the drums on that.
yeah.
And there's like, I know there's multiple breaks on that album, and I'm not sure which song it is, but like there's one song with two breaks, and like the way the hi-hat switches up at one point, it's like like it sort of goes into double time. I don't know any of the theory behind it, but like I could like I had like this very formulaic way that I would do drums, and it would be like, I'd chop the like, basically in fourths, like one to the two to the three to the four, and just sort of, I would do one, two, two, three, and sometimes I would double up the snare. So it would be like the ta ta. So those drums were really good for that, and you could flip them a lot of ways. What was another thing that
It's a good band, good record.
yeah, man. Yeah, that was a Prex discovery as a kid too. Like that was one of those ones where I was like, all right, yeah, like yeah, that was like it's I guess when I say like I was more focused on the music. Like at this point, like I was viewing records as a very in a way more utilitarian way. Like it wasn't um like I didn't care if I had a record. I just wanted stuff to sample. And then as I got more and more into that, like I would be like, oh, this whole record's kind of dope. Like, like it because at first it was just like, all right, I have the turntable to like needle drop, see what I want to sample. Okay, if the song's dope, I like this song. Put it in the sleeve, file it away, never think about it again. It was just like it was a tool to a greater purpose, I guess. Um, so yeah,
So wait,
I keep skipping around.
it's okay. It doesn't have to be linear. How has your ear changed over the years from back then to now?
Um, I honestly not that much. Like it's probably why I've slowed down on making beats because it got I got sort of bored of hearing my sound. Like I like pretty music. Like I never like one of the issues I had with my beats is like trying to get people or selling beats or whatever. People would be like, oh, like like yo, that's a dope beat, but like it needs to be like hard. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't. To me, like that's sort of the MC's job. Like like yeah, there's obviously a tone or if you sample some doomed classical, it's gonna whatever. But like I have a very you know I like stuff that's like choral and Fender Rhodes and xylophones and pretty pianos. Like not pretty, but I mean, I don't like abrasive music. Like that's I know that's like a sweeping statement, and a lot of my coworkers at the record store and a lot of people will like maybe hate on that statement, but like to me, like music is sort of it's an escape, and like it's what I like. I don't listen to music in the car. Like I like when I listen to music, I want to be sitting and relaxing and not thinking about anything else. And like I want to, yeah, I just want to feel not good, but feel not stressed. So that was the kind of that's always been the kind of thing that I've made. And if I hear something that sounds good, I'm gonna take the sample. But um, yeah, my sound is always I really am always been partial to rock. Like I just think rock samples are more fun. I think I don't know. Like there's something about rock records that like those are the records that excite me the most even now to this day. Like when I find like a really good like jazzy prog record or like like just like there's something I love about it's like okay this is rock and roll but like it sounds like jazz and you could totally make a beat stuff like placebo like that kind of thing like when you like something about that kind of record really and I mean maybe because it's subconscious and because they're coveted or whatever but like those are the kind of records I'm looking for like when I go like if I go overseas to buy records, like I want to find stuff that like I have never seen that like is a weird rock record that, like that, yes, just that I don't know about. Like that sounds like jazz. There's something about rock that sounds like jazz, I guess is the simple way to put it. But that kind of, yeah, I like, yeah, jazzy rock, like it's, it's a weird that you ask me that. It's a tough question to answer because I know what the sound is, and people who know me, and I mean, I think even if you follow me on Instagram or whatever, like there is a sound, like it's like there is a Rob record, and it's it's really specific. It's like people are like, oh, you like prog, like and I'm like, yeah, I like prog, and like people be like, oh, I think this is a Rob record. And I'm like, no, this vocal's just horrible. I'm like, that synth's like a little too shrill, It's like I just like
So are you okay? If I don't pretend to know your taste, but there is
mhm,
a sound of beat digger prog rock
mhm,
for sure,
yeah,
and some of it's really well known, or at least well known to beat diggers. Doesn't mean it's easy to get,
mhm,
and but it's also kind of endless because
yeah,
uh yeah, it's just psych rock is a deep world full of rare and unusual records
mhm,
with music that has a lot of strange switching and time code switching and like uh, various unusual tools that make it very good for hip hop. Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
So yeah, I mean, you mentioned placebo. Yeah, in the fusion world, that's some of the most famous. I mean, you could probably go on rifle off a million names, but let's
yeah.
say some of the more well-known ones. Soft Machine is a great place to start.
Oh yeah, I mean, Soft Machine was my entry into that. Like, there's a like them and King Crimson, and like King Crimson affiliated, like yeah, definitely Soft Machine. I guess it's five. That was the first one where I was like, oof, like, and then I think like people under the stairs or somebody like like I definitely like that one song Carol Ann like I'm like okay like I know this like when I got Soft Machine I'm like yeah I know this I definitely have heard this that was definitely that was the entry level for me stuff like that
Yeah.
and that's the kind of stuff that I was exposed to not from like yeah just from working with older dudes who worked in a record store and like I remember do you know the McDonald and Giles
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like yeah like I remember the first time I heard that and just being like oh my god like this record is amazing and
Yeah.
like you would not like I just it wasn't that like that was one of those records where I was like damn like there's cool stuff like everywhere and that was definitely one of the ones where I'm like yeah I'm gonna check rock records and then like I kept just finding like little things like silly ones like like there's a 10 years after that Cage sampled the It's for Radiohead. I mean, it's like it's like one bar. I felt like, oh yeah, like it just like the fact that it was on a rock record and not like a James Brown. And I didn't like I know that way more people were into into rock stuff. I wasn't discovering anything new, but like to me, it just wasn't something that occurred to me. Like it just wasn't like, oh yeah, like there's dope. Like I thought it's so basic in terms of rock and like so like 3 minutes and 30-second songs and like verse, bridge, chorus, like like pop formulaic. Like it never occurred to me that like it could be like these sweeping, multi-layered pieces of music. Yeah, so that like stuff like Soft Machine, McDonald and Giles. Um, I remember way back, and this is like way before my friend of mine, shout out Flavor Saver, my man Sean. He played me the Release Music Orchestra "Get the Ball."
I'm not
Um,
familiar.
yeah, dude, you check that out. I got it somewhere around here. Let's see. Better have it. Yeah. So I don't know, but
Joe,
this
Joe,
to me, this was it's on Brain, and it was like that album to me is like the perfect prog record, and like not I wouldn't say it's in the lane of the Placebo records, but it's definitely like, oh, like this is why, like this is hip hop. Like there's you'll know when you hear it, but like there's songs that are just like, oh, this is just straight up beat. Like it's like you could just take a loop at any point and it's a beat. Like yeah, stuff like
no,
that.
thanks for sharing that. I mean, I'm looking forward to checking that out. A lot of the people who listen to the show often look things up, so whenever you share, I think that's great.
Mm.
Another band that comes to mind that's of that vein, Cause.
Oh yeah, yep.
Incredible. I mean, I've only
Awesome.
recently discovered them. I mean, I think the records are quite hard to find, and they are fantastic. Like it reminds me a little bit of Placebo, but it's its own thing, and it's
Yeah.
tremendous music.
Yeah, I got these two. Yeah, no, that's these. Yeah, whew, Cost is definitely That's the kind of record that like I, y- you know, like those are the kind of records I do what I do to find. And like I didn't just. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm like one day I was digging in this collection. I found this Cost record. Like no, I knew what that was. Like I was on social media. But there are, like you said, it's endless. Like the Den Bosch Fair, formerly the Utrecht Fair. Um, you can just go and it's like, oh, this entire table is like private press German rock records. Like
That's
it's
right.
just that, like that to me is like that's like yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to see.
You've touched on something I have a real fascination with, the Utrecht Record Fair.
Mm.
Tell me everything about what led to you going, your experience, everything.
Um, so I guess when Instagram became a thing. So I was never like, I had Facebook, I guess, to talk to family. I always thought like Instagram was just kind of like an interesting idea. So when the app became available, I got the app and like, whatever, just didn't even think of it. And then one day was like, oh, there's records on here. Like I've got records, like, and just started posting pictures of records. And then from there, it sort of became like, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know there was going to be a community or anything like that. But through Instagram, early on is when I got into contact with Leon or Leonard in Holland, and we just traded. I forget. I think it was. I forget what we traded. Oh yeah, he traded me like a library record and something else for a Sweet Charles, something like that. And we just started DMing back and forth, and he lives in Holland, and we just became good friends, just talking about records via DM. And I had always heard of the Utrecht Fair. At that point, I was not working. I was not working in a record store. I was a mail carrier. I was going to the Princeton Record Exchange every day, but I was not working there at the time. And yeah, I just like I wasn't doing anything professionally with records, or even really thinking about it. I just sort of was getting records because that's just what I've been doing. Um, and so uh, yeah, we would just trade, and like I would get a lot of stuff and trade back and forth. And yeah, I guess when I'm trying to think of the timeline here. Yeah, so I guess a few years after Instagram started and we developed a friendship, I quit my job as a mail carrier to open a record store in New York with one of my oldest friends. And
What was it
when
called?
it was called Sideman Records. It was very short lived. It was in Fort Greene. Yeah, Fort Greene, where actually Buzz the Monkey Records is now. And shout out to them. Um, I knew like at the time, like it just didn't work out. There was a lot of reasons, but I personally was not in a space to be owning a record store, and I'll just leave it at that. But that was really like once I had decided to like to do something professionally with records, then I was like, oh, I can go to Holland and write this off. Um, and I was like, and I've got a friend in Holland who can put me up. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I got went stayed with Leon for the weekend, 5 days, hung out, and then pretty much once you go to that fair, it's like you want to go back. Like it's just like it is like I don't want to sound like corny because like yeah, it's a record fair, but you know, especially now, I buy a lot of records and like I see a lot of like Bruce Springsteen and Steely Dan and classic rock and like I don't like I love it. I love what I do, but like at the same time, like it can wear down on you and like when like something that I was passionate about becomes something that I live off of, like it sort of makes the idea of collecting like less exciting. You know what I mean? It's like it just when it becomes like monetary, and I'm like always thinking about like, oh well, like if I buy this, what's it worth, and can I flip this, and like just like I lose touch with the passion of why I started buying records in the first place, which was to like find interesting things that sounded cool to me. So like going to that fair, it's really refreshing. Like it's almost like a reset. Um, because it's like, yeah, I don't like yeah, there's all the big showpiece grails and like they're definitely cool to see, but like you can, there's tons of stuff that's like, 20 to 50 euro that like I've never seen that looks cool. And like, every time I go, I come home with something that at least one thing, the goal is to come home with that like most things that I didn't know before. But that's the big benefit of that show to me.
What kind of people are there? Like, are, are they
Man,
people?
maniacs.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean,
it,
I'm
it,
familiar with this because like it's got a myth around it,
mm,
but it's obviously across the world. It's in a
yeah,
not major city, Utrecht,
yeah, yeah,
and I've just hear of collectors and dealers and let's say beat diggers and producers going there and going ham.
yeah. No, it's crazy. So I mean, you get a large cross section of people, and it's huge. Like I don't like you can see the pictures, but until you're there, like it really like it's overwhelming almost. Like it's a lot to take in. But there is pretty much every kind of record you can imagine. There's hundreds of dealers, and it's all over the world. So there's people who have a little bit of everything, and then there's people who specialize. Like that I saw a guy who had a table who only had like Depeche Mode 12 inches, and like there's yeah, like there's so like there was one guy who had like 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 just Southern rock and like waves giant Confederate flags like on his thing. You know, like there's I mean, I guess there's something for everybody, but there's like an entire, you know, there's people who like just heavy metal, just classical, tons of CD people. So it's you get a definitely get your normal sort of bargain shoppers and you know people who just not necessarily collectors or anything, just enjoy music and enjoy you know physical media and you can come off like if you're buying CDs or dollar records and yeah you can definitely clean up there. So there's those kind of people. Then there's a lot of like stores doing deals with other stores, people buying bulk off each other, people trading grails. There's definitely people who like are DJs, and then there's definitely you know like there's people who like I'm like yeah you're here for the like you know you've got glasses and a beard and you know you're wearing some form of streetwear or skateboarding clothes and like you're here essentially for the same thing I am like just look at cool shit. But no, it's. I mean, I love the vibe in general in Holland is definitely a lot more relaxed. And it's a nice break from the U.S. for me. So I, you know, it's yeah, it's I enjoy the trip. I try to do it every year. I haven't in like 2 years now, but I've gone I think eight times. I think I you know one year I went twice in 1 year. Just because it's yeah like it really is like what is this, what is this, like oh my god what is the like you know just nonstop. And yeah it reminds me that there are like that it is truly endless, you know that like that's what's fun about you know digging and listening and collecting is like learning something new and like being like oh like I didn't even know I'd like you know this weird folk thing or whatever you know like it what have you like that's so yeah that fair is a good reminder for that sort of thing. And then if you're like all right I want to like I want this $1,000 record like it's definitely going to be there like you know it's like think of it's like human like real life Discogs SWAT list you know it's like you want it really is like it's jarring the first time you go like I remember my first time I think I like spent my entire budget in like under an hour and like probably didn't I think I didn't like two-thirds of what I bought. I was just so like oh my god like, it's just so struck and like I'm like I've seen that library record I've seen this I'm like you know like it's you know, like oh this looks cool. So yeah that was an adjustment like you have to learn to pace yourself and take your time because you can spend a lot of money very quickly. Like it's brutal. Also, they don't do it now, but they used to have like this huge flea market just outside of the records, and that was amazing too. Like I'm a big lover of you know junk, so that was very cool too. But yeah, if like anyone who is serious, not no, I'm not gonna say that. That's like if you're willing to spend the money it takes to fly to Holland and like if you go in knowing that this is not gonna be like it's not gonna be a cheap experience, like if you're okay with that and you're able to, like you should do it. You know, like I'm unmarried, I don't have any children, you know, like it's pretty easy for me to justify spending a bunch of money. That's why I've kind of slowed down on going, but you know, no, it's not. Yeah, I say that like I have a bunch of money to spend, but like,
No, no. Thank you for
but like I'm like, all right, well, I could just eat like pasta and scrambled eggs for a month. What I, you know, like it's just me. So
no, thanks for taking us on that journey. I mean,
mm,
I think it was a very cool to hear your exposure, and 8 times is a lot, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
also Leon of Leon's Curation.
hmm
I like that story of how you guys connected. I mean, you've been friends for years now. He's a hell of a guy. One of my first guests.
yep,
And I give people who are on the show early a lot of credit because there was essentially no show. It's just me talking to people who are also not really public figures.
Right.
And the fact that they gave me a shot, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, like I remember you invited me around the same time, and he just, we talk pretty much every day, and he was like, oh yeah, like this guy invited me to on the podcast. I was like, oh, me too. And he was like, well, like I don't like, I don't know, like I don't like, does he have any episodes? And I'm like, well, like who are we? Like, like I'm just, it's like no one cares. Like, I people only, that I just I just play records. I just post records on a social media app, So, no, but respect to you, and respect to Len or Leon. He is a very good dude, and I owe him a lot. Like he's put me up on a lot of things. His knowledge is deep. That's like the I try to be as humble as possible with records. I mean, as anyone should be, because it's just records. But like, he's one of those people where I'm like, okay, I don't like. There's a lot I don't know, and like, it's good to have those people in your life. I feel like that's something that's lost a lot in the digging world. Is that there's always someone who knows more than you. Like, and I'm like, I see, like, I buy these people's collections. Like I see them, I work with them. Like, like, yeah, like, just speaking of Len, for the collection he has and the humility he shows, he is like, all love to Len. Like, that's my dude right there. But yeah, his collection is bananas. Like, his record collection is like, whew, it's intense.
He was fantastic. Great vibe on that guy. And I'll say I give you and him a lot of credit. You'll be surprised how many people like to listen to people talk shit about beat digging, of
Mm.
which it's my favorite thing to do. We could do this for hours and
Right,
people
right.
just like it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. People, there's fans.
No, I mean, it makes sense because I do it all the year. It's like, I feel bad sometimes, like if I'm, you know, uh, I'm lucky enough that most of my closest friends that I've had forever are also still in the world. But I feel bad sometimes, like if I'm like with them and like my girlfriend, I'm like, yeah, like, just like nerding out. I'm like, oh my God, oh. Because it really is like, what are you even talking about? Like, I listen when I'm at work. Sometimes I listen to the conversations we're having. And I'm like, wow, we are really like, this is like, we are some nerdy people, So I definitely, yeah, I would be talking shit about digging either way. So.
Perfect. Perfect. As you know, record dealers, record collectors are characters. I mean, all the crazy stories you must have, all the crazy stories I've had, especially at record fairs, like people giving you advice, telling you X, Y, or Z. I've been in all kind of crazy situations, and it's hilarious. Like I love it. They're
Yeah.
real characters.
Yes, there are. Yeah, I definitely, I don't go to too many record shows. One, just because I work weekends. Like, as you said, I'm a buyer for a store, and weekends are our heaviest walk-in days, so like I kind of need to be there. So my weekend availability is limited. And then the shows that I do typically go to, like, the Utrecht is big enough where it's like you can kind of just, uh, you like, there's tons of people there, but you can just kind of be in your own little bubble. And then Live Convention in Toronto was one that I frequented, or I guess it's Crazy Recon now.
Oh, so
So those are the.
okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't go this past September, just because a friend of mine was getting married in Toronto 2 weeks before, so I couldn't justify going to twice in a month. But yeah, for at least five, I think, years before that, I went, and loved it. That show was phenomenal.
Okay, that's actually where I'm from, originally Toronto, Canada.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I went this year, and the person who organizes it is a friend of mine. song I've known my whole life, and he kind of taught me about all this. So
Is that Rana or?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. All right, shout out to RC. Yeah.
yeah. I
y-
mean, think about it as like, I don't know, 12 years old, and he's playing you all this shit. And he had a radio show at that college, and there was some reason that's quite not clear to me, but he had to like not be around the radio station. I don't know what the issue was. He's like, for the summer, you take over the radio show, right?
hmm.
And
Oh, okay.
I had very few records, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I would bring my friends who were DJs. I mean, they were pros at that point. We were teenagers, but they were good and they could DJ. I mean, they did it in nightclubs and other things, battle DJs. And we'd go and we'd play at the station, and I'd just play all my shit, which was not much. I'm talking
Hmm.
like Isaac Hayes, talking like
Yeah.
Shaka Khan, right? Like good music, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
the easiest records in the world. And then there's a DJ, unfortunately passed away, a great guy named Son of Soul, right?
I'm
DJ.
familiar with the name. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's a legend in Toronto, and he's a legend not only because he was a good DJ, he was just the nicest person you'd ever meet.
Hmm.
And he always looked out for me, and he's much older than me. And he called in. He's like, "Who's DJ?" I'm like, "It's
Yeah.
me." He's like, "What's going on?" Like, he's see like who's playing all this like, like starter level music.
Yeah.
And then we became friends, became one of my mentors. I was like,
Yeah.
it's just my memory of kind of college radio getting started. Then I guess I got a little bit better. But either way, it was a good experience to do it as a young person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's quite the pedigree. Like, like I've seen RC's collection, and that was a couple of years ago, and that was top tier. Like, whew, yeah, he's got some things, and again, like I know Son of Soul just from the reputation, and like, yeah, I do remember like there were benefits. So I don't know the person, but I know that is, if those are your OGs, that's pretty serious.
Can I share something with you? This has nothing to do with anything, but I moved to New York, right? And
Mm,
Son of Soul, he's like a soulful person, was a soulful person.
right.
And he cared deeply about music, not a little bit, a lot. And he didn't give a
Mm,
shit about being cool, even though he was a popular DJ. He wasn't like an industry type, right?
right.
And I came back from New York and I was wearing like a kind of like a dress shirt, like a dress shirt that Jay-Z would wear in the 2000s, like just like striped. It looked terrible.
Mm.
And I was quite inebriated with my friends.
Right.
We were going to a nightclub. I mean, that's what I did back then. And that song by Jim Jones, Ballin', do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was just like destroyed drunk wearing this shiny shirt and like doing like this ballin' thing to my friend across a convenience store. And then I
Yeah.
run into Son of Soul.
Mm.
And I immediately like tried to calm myself down.
Yeah. Checked yourself.
Right, because I respected him, right?
Right.
He just wasn't about that. Like, even though
Yeah.
he just didn't like he didn't support this kind of like jiggy mentality.
Right.
And
Right.
I was just being a dick. I just felt terrible. I mean, he was nice as always. I said, "All right, great to see you," whatever. And I always felt bad about that because I
Yeah.
felt bad about that because I never saw him again. I was just like, man, this is terrible. But
Yeah.
yeah, he would understand. But I'll just say that's my like strange regret in this life that, I mean, I don't know who's going to judge me on that, but I just feel terrible about it.
No, and I mean, it's like I definitely like there. I know what it's like to have a person like that. Like I've definitely been in a similar situation. Like especially when it's like, there's definitely been a lot of people who you know like passed a lot of things on to me that they didn't necessarily have to. I'm like, I'm not like I don't want to be like, get off my lawn or like, my generation or because that like, that's not a lot of that is kind of bullshit. But like I really like it wasn't for someone to treat me with kindness and be like, oh, like this is dope, or like this is a cool record, you should check this out, or like this is like these this is like check this rhyme, listen to this, like that sort of thing. People who took the time to do that when they didn't have to, um and like how you said, like he like there's a soul, like, and you can feel that soul to like a certain kind of, there's certain people, like there's a lot of different collectors, but there are people who like like it really, like it means, it's more like it's an embodiment of who they are, and like the things that they enjoy and spread are like they're doing it because it's a part of them. And like I know that, and that's honestly, it's because of people like that that I try to do the same. Like it's like uh, information. Like, yeah, I had the internet to an extent. I'm 45, so I was sort of on the tail end of that, but I didn't. I was like completely unaware, like Soul Strut or forums or anything like that. Just because I didn't have a computer, and really I was shopping at one place that was kind of just isolated from whole record world. So like it was, I didn't, like, it was people around me who were like, "Oh, check out McDonald and Gobbs." Like, oh, like, I don't like, I had a bunch of people who were like, "All right, they don't listen to hip hop, they don't care about hip hop, but they know that like I'm looking for stuff that's just clean open drums." And they'd be like, "Oh, I found this one for you." Like, that kind of stuff is important. Like I feel like there's way too much gatekeeping, sort of. Like I mean, coming from a producer mindset and like being a product of the time, like yeah, there's a certain stuff like I don't want, like if I'm at a record show and someone's like, "What'd you buy?" I'm like, "Don't," like none of your business. Like, like it's like, and I'm like, it's no big deal, but that's my first reaction. Like, so I get gatekeeping on a certain extent because like you wanted to have the better drums or cooler drums, but honestly, by the time I was doing that, getting really into that in like 96, 97. Like, what new ground? Like, what am I discovering that, like, Diamond D didn't discover? Like, so it's like, there's a very, like, people really need to check themselves sometimes. And, like, like they're just records. And, like, just, like, I want, like, it's, like, it happens to me. It's why I have Instagram. It's why I, like, will go on deep like Discogs dives where it's like you'll pull up one thing and it's like recommended, and I'll go through all of those. Like I'll do it, like like um oh, I forgot where I was going, but like yeah, being able to pass along that information and like doing that freely and kindly is important. Like, oh, what I was saying is that it's been done to me. Like there are definitely like things that I've seen on social media where I was like, damn, like what is this? And like get it, and the record changed my life. And it's happened in real life many times at my job. Like stuff, like stuff that I've looked at for, that I've seen hundreds of copies of that just never listened to. And someone will be like, check this record out. I'm like, oh my God, like I love this. Like that's what I feel like there should be more of that, like
Yeah, yeah,
it's just sort of like the whole like I like, yeah, it's cool that I am invested into something, both because of my passion and my profession, and like I'm respected, and like people know that my ear means something or what have you. Like, yeah, that's cool, but ultimately, like I'm just a dude who's buying other people's used stuff and passing it along, and like I didn't write the music, I didn't record it, I didn't press it. Like I just found something that somebody else made, and like it's special to me, and maybe like it'll be special to you. Like that's like there's like there's a I love collecting, but sometimes the collector mentality can be weird. Like I don't know. To me, it's like you should. you should get things to share them. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hippy dippy. I don't know.
I appreciate your mentality, and thanks for listening to me talk about my old friend. I mean,
No, it was beautiful, man.
ah,
That's nice to hear.
I don't even know if that means anything to anyone else, and I don't really tell people that, but it's just been this lifelong memory. But
Yeah,
we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
yeah.
We've gone in a lot of directions, which is
Yeah,
good.
sorry. I tend to get a little sidetracked.
No, no, that's the point. That's the point.
Okay. All right.
Um, we're going to go to everyone's favorite segment of the show.
Okay.
Drop a gem on them. We're going to play a quick word association game. You tell me what comes to mind. It could be a feeling, an experience,
Okay.
personal story, anecdote, really anything. And these songs have a very loose relationship with each other.
Okay. All right.
Brethren, outside love.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that snappiest drums, like amazing drum break. Honestly though, what I think of when I think of that record is there's a song on the Flip Success Brand Oil that is like ridiculous, like just super funky. Bass line goes crazy, uh, snapping drums. It's like b-boy, you know, yeah, it's a b-boy jam. But Outside Love, I like that's one of those drum breaks that like you can use those noises infinitely. Yeah, that's a classic. I feel like I didn't realize how slow that drum break was until I got the record. Uh, but yeah, that's a classic. And I'll say I'm for the church cover, not the barn cover, the church cover.
All right. 7 minutes of funk. The whole darn family.
Yeah, I was just I was thinking about this recently. Just came up on a copy and was playing it, and like it's incredible to me like how like it's like such a like a heavy funk song, but like when you listen like the drums, it's just such like a simple like it's so simple like the bass and I mean the bass is very funky, but the drum is just it's a simple ass drum beat, but like it really it's that is an effective you know, it's aptly titled, it's effective, and also like you can't hear that bass line and not lose it. You know, like I don't care what if you're, you know, if it's the Jay-Z, you know, if you hear it sampled, Jay-Z, Alcoholics. I mean, the Alcoholics one is that's that get hype for me, that whole album. But yeah, I love that jam. Like classic break. Yes.
I forgot about the Alcoholics. They killed it on that. They killed it on
Yeah.
that record. It
Oh my God. Yeah. Like,
was a freestyle. It was Only When I'm Drunk is the name of the song.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Killer.
And that definitely like that was when I was heavy watching Yo MTV Raps and Rhapsody, like high school age, and yeah, I mean, I love that album. I love the Alcoholics. They're one of my favorites. E Swift is one of my favorite and most underrated producers, in my opinion.
That's my first recollection of hearing Madlib because he did the intro
hmm
and he goes, "I'm Madlib, the bad kid," right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "This beat is insane. I don't even know
hmm
what's happening right now." And I always thought he's dope. And then I just kind of looked out for him, and he goes on to be like a supernova. And that's my
Yeah.
first recollection.
Yeah. No, that was. I mean, that was definitely. Yeah, mine as well. Um, I like. I like the Alcoholics are definitely one of my favorite groups, and like I also because like you know, I grew up on the East Coast, and while we had, you know, music videos, there was a lot of stuff I wasn't exposed to just because you know, like, I knew like Ice Cube and NWA and Dr. Dre, but like, I didn't really know much deeper than that. One, because of my age, and like, you know, I had no history on West Coast hip hop before a certain time, and it was because of the Alcoholics that I was like, oh, who's King T? Like, and then I was like, oh, King T, like, the whole lineage was like, oh, Exhibit and Defari, and like, their sound. I feel like Alcoholics are wildly underrated, and 21 and over, like, woof, those beats, like, I see, like, yeah, that is my get hype. Like if I need, it's like not that I've like lifted weights or something, but like I'll throw on 21 and over. I'm just like, ah! Like
Yeah.
I love that record.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great album. And you're right. They were the start of something, or at least if the start of something to me for being exposed to this type of like they were West Coast and they had some West Coast slang, but they rapped like the East Coast people with skills.
They even said it, like I definitely know those lines where like they're like the East Coast, something, from California, and it's like I needed that to open it up because like I was listening to like Beat Miners and
Yeah.
like Tribe and that kind of stuff, and also like because of skateboarding, there was a territorial thing, and then there was the whole West Coast beat. So like I didn't know about it, and I didn't care to. Like I knew hieroglyphics, and like Gift of Gab and Blacklicious and certain things, but for the most part, like I feel like there were probably some core West Coast things that like I would not be aware of if it weren't for Alcoholics. Like I remember the first time hearing King T and being like, damn, this dude is a beast. Like, oh man, like like what have I been doing? Like, so yeah, shout out Alcoholics, E Swift, shout out, and like yeah, those dudes like brought up Madlib. Come on, man, like, and like the E Swift beats are so like there's such like a bomb squad, but not to it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, forever. Shouts to the licks. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're bringing back good memories. Dionne Warwick, You're Gonna Need Me.
Yeah. Man, that like, that's one of those records that like I had a dozen times over when I was young and just never thought about it. Also, it was never in good condition. And back then, when I first got it, it was just like Dionne Warwick, like it's like, oh, I'm like, like I had never have been a huge vocal person. Like I'm very specific with the vocals I like, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's either I don't, and not saying I dislike Dionne Warwick, but just in general, I don't listen to stuff with vocals. So, and I kind of lumped that one, and then yeah, like um, I had it, and then I started hearing it on like I don't know, probably like on track or like the DJ Ellie ones, or like with like at some break tape. And I feel like that song was on like so many break tapes. And, when I finally was like, I need a copy of that, like I didn't have it. Took me forever to recoup a clean one. And going back to it now as a 45-year-old man and as opposed to like a 17-year-old, I'm like, oh, like no wonder that like it's like, oh, it's McKinley Jackson and Gene Page and Lamont Dozier and like like that's why it sounds like this. And that yeah, it's one of those ones that I'm glad I have, but it took a long time to recoup. And if you have one, hold on to it because they're getting tough. That's
Okay.
that's
Okay.
that's what I'll say.
Okay. I'm gonna say a random record, and I have no idea whether you know this. And if you don't, that's cool.
Okay.
Kenny Rankin. So Kenny
Mm.
Rankin, Catfish.
I've seen it.
Yeah. I'll just
I've
say it.
seen.
I normally don't like to bring up stuff when I don't think the other person knows it. I
Mhm.
only randomly know it. But when I think about folk
Yeah.
and the sound of folk that beat diggers would like, that is a dope one. And it's a super easy record.
Okay. I will have to check it because that's definitely one of those records where it's like it's funny like and another beauty of working in records and being open minded like it happened, yeah, like not even that long ago. My coworker played the Mamas and the Papas. Like I don't know, it was like it was it was not what I thought Mamas and Mamas sounded like. and I believe Gene Page did that one too. And I was like, oh my god, like, and it's like this is a record that I have seen 100,000 times in my life. I've, I've priced it a bunch of times, just never bothered to listen to. So like, I will check that Kenny Rankin out because those are honestly like those are some of my favorite records. Those ones where it's like, oh shit, this is what this is like. Oh my god, like what have I been doing?
Yeah, it's interesting. Just like Prague, it's hard to put words on it, but there is a sound that beat diggers identify with. There's a type of folk that is the same, but it's even more, let's say, distant from what you think a guy who listens to rap would like.
Yeah,
It's hard to get words around this very specific sound.
yeah, no, and I know what you mean, like because I have some of those folk records, and it's records where I'm like, damn, I did not like. Had you told me, when I was 17, that I would be like, oh, this record's amazing. Like, like I definitely would not. And I would have been like, really? All right. Like, but there's a sound. I really like just ethereal vocals. Like I'm a sucker for like not like the swingle singers necessarily, but like I want to say Sounds Unlimited. I don't know. It's like a cheap budget. It's like a singing group, where like a choral group.
Singers Unlimited.
Yes, yeah,
Claire.
that's it. Singers Unlimited.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like it just sounds so pretty to me. My dog is doing her squeaky toy. I don't know if you can hear
Okay.
it.
Good.
Or like what was the oh yeah, Bud Shank, Let It Be. It's like a $4 record, but
Bud Shank,
it's
Let It Be. Okay.
it's honestly like it's probably one of my favorite albums, just period. And like people are like when people ask me like, oh, what's like a record you can't live without? Like this is definitely on the short list, and most like it's just a really it's mostly Beatles covers, but it's got like the chorus and it's just beautiful harmonies. It's got Carol Kay on bass, like Wrecking Crew backing band, and just the way it's recorded, like the bass is so like warm and mellow. Like it definitely, if you ever see this Bud Shank out in the wild, it's cheap. It should be cheap. I'm pretty sure it's still under $5. I don't know. Again, I'm like a lot of things that I'm like, oh, it's under $5. It's like, no, it's 20, but this should be under $5. And like, I think somebody told me that, I think after the fact that like, this is a record that I've loved for a very, very long time. And I think years later, someone was like, oh, Beatnuts sampled it. And I'm like, oh, that would make total sense. But yeah, speaking of like that soft, ethereal sort of, yeah, I'm a sucker for that. Like yeah, it just sounds pretty. Like,
All right. Let's take it back to the West Coast. Del, the Funky Homo Sapien, Eye Examination.
yeah, that's a pretty that's a pretty important one to me. Like, I I first heard that. So I went to summer camp. Like my entire life, I went to the same summer camp, and there was another kid there, who now. I don't know. He was in the group Junk Science. I think they were on Def Jux briefly, but like he's a DJ, makes beats. I don't know what he does. All sorts of cool shit. He's an amazing human being. Shout out to Jimmy Snafu. Um, he I like grew up in the city, and like when summer camp was my time to like be around kids from the city and like get introduced to cool shit, and that's how I heard Eye Exam the first time. And I had heard like Mr. Dabalina, maybe. I'd heard something out, like I'd heard other Dell, and I knew like Dell was cool. And I'm pretty sure I had heard Souls of Mischief before I heard Eye Exam, but or maybe not. I don't know if it matters.
It was around the same time. It was like, because I believe that was like off a 12-inch.
Yeah, yeah, it was a B-side.
So
Yeah, yeah. So it was probably before, but I just remember being like, I've never heard anything that sounds like this before. Like it just was like, yeah, that really. I mean, is that and like Beyond the Cloak of Darkness, those two, like, yeah, Dell's whole thing, because like that's where it was. I knew them from skateboarding videos. Plan B skateboards, old school, they still exist, but like some of the guys I guess were from Oak or from San Francisco and friends with Hyro and friends with Dell. So a lot of their stuff was in skate videos, like before I even, really knew their albums. So that's where I had heard it. But yeah, just like the beats, and the way Dell rapped, like it just like it was so I like, like that's one of those times where I was like, damn, like what I thought hip hop was, it was just like, oh, okay, like it's also this too, like that was at a big like age of discovery for me, like I was kind of just, like sort of exposed to what my sister was watching or whatever was on, Yum TV Raps, and like there's certain artists where I was like, damn, like that, like I didn't know you could do that. Like I didn't know you could like sound like this. I thought it was just sort of, or like I didn't know you could sample this kind of stuff. Like it just was, yeah, that whole era of Dell and Hyro. Also because it was in skate videos too, and like, skateboarding back then was not as cool as it was, and especially like I grew up in a black neighborhood, and skateboarding was not a cool thing, man. So like, to have hip hop like something that I loved because that's what I grew up to see it in a skate video. I was like, oh, dope! Like not just punk rock or heavy metal, which I'm fine with those too, but like it was one of the first hip hop things that like I really saw in skate videos. So
Yeah.
yeah, Hyro, like yeah, I'll forever love Dell and love Hyro.
Yeah.
Casual.
Yeah. Dell's a real original. And that song, he attacks it, and his flow is so like loose, and he just
Mm,
dominates that beat. And yeah, that kind of helped me get into the world of Psych, because I just thought like whatever this music is amazing. And I mentioned this before on the show, but shortly after I saw the movie The Game with Michael Douglas, it's a David Fincher movie,
oh yes, yeah.
right? The White Rabbit. I mean, I feel like it's too late. I'll expose the sample. Jefferson Airplane, The White Rabbit, Surrealistic Pillow, very famous song, was
Yeah.
used for the ending credits. And I was like, that's a hell of an ending. And then I went digging, found the record, and started asking the record store guy, I mean, the guy who worked there, like, tell me about more records like this.
Mm,
And he went on this long speech, but it's just got me into the world of that sound. Whether I don't even know
mm.
whether you consider that psych rock or not, but that's what got me interested in it.
I mean, I think it's psych rock.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I think it's sort of like a pretty good example. Like, if someone were to say psych rock, I would probably say Jefferson Airplane. Like, that's a like a psychedelic anthem.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's not just me, man. This guy was going on
that,
long. He went like a long, like rant. He's like, that's
yeah.
like, this is like, and he was going crazy. And I look at it and I was like, man, I'm just like trying to learn, but I have no idea what he was talking about at that point.
Yeah, like I mean, the genre is like it gets tough, man. Like a lot of people, like I'll talk to a coworker, and I'll be like, oh, what's this? And they'll be like, oh, it's this post punk blah. I'm like, I'm not gonna remember what that means. Like, like I'm just like, is it good or no? Like, like yeah, I definitely am not great at defining specific. Like I know what it like. It's like I know what it sounds like when I hear it, like but it's it's interesting, and I think this might happen a lot with people who got into other music through collecting hip hop and samples. Is that like like I wasn't paying attention, like I was just like either this is dope or it isn't, like it's not like I'm not like, oh, is this no, this is actually like no wave and like post punk, like it's not, this isn't psych rock, it's hard psych, or like, it's just like, who cares? Like it's, but yeah, I think Jefferson Airplane is psych rock. Like if someone were to come in and ask me for what's a psych rock album at the store, I'd give them Jefferson Airplane for sure.
Yeah. Decades
Uh,
later, thank you for validating my assumption.
and also, shout out to David Fincher for his song choices, like um, "Hurdy Gurdy Man," the Donovan song at the end of Zodiac. Woof! Oh my God! Like I can't hear that song the same way after that. Like, same thing with. Did you watch Mindhunters on Netflix?
I saw the first season, not
Uh, okay, so I don't know if it's in the. I think it is in the first season. Maybe it's the second season, but he uses a Roxy Music song, and I mean the song itself is uh, "In Each Home a Heartache." It's a terrifying song to begin with, but in that context, it's even. Yeah. I'd suggest, yeah, check it out because Fincher is a master of music supervision. I really hats off to him.
Yeah, I mean, he must be so like that's the thing about these master directors. They're just into everything
Hmm.
and they
Hmm.
have deep knowledge and plus they have people with them to make it amazing. I mean, I give them the credit.
Yeah.
He's a music guy. I mean, his first movie, I think his first movie was Panic Room and like there's just
Yeah, I mean, well, he started music videos like the George Michael Freedom video, which
yeah.
is an amazing video. Like, that's I mean, I think yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's David Fincher.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he did many Madonna videos. But just
Yep,
because you
yep,
do a George Michael video doesn't mean you know what you just doesn't know you know
very
God.
true, very very true.
Yeah, yeah. Was it Get Thy Bearings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, it's Hurdy Gurdy Man.
Okay.
Wait, yeah, it was Hurdy Gurdy Man at the end of Zodiac. But Get Thy Bearings is also a banger.
Oh, it's a banger. Oh, crazy.
Yes, yep, yep.
Les DeMurle, Day in the Life off the Spectrum album.
Um, so I got started, like the first music that I obsessively collected as a child was Beatles records. Like, I'm talking like 5 to 7 or 8. So I love the Beatles. And in the record store setting that I've been in, Beatles covers are typically like despised. I love Beatles covers, and like that. I mean, Day in the Life is like there's a lot of banging versions of that, but that one, just yeah, that one knocks. Shout out to Buck Wild. Just everything. I mean, the way it was used, like that definitely is no diss to Lester Merle, but like to me that record is important because of OC and Time's Up, and like I remember like when that song came out and like getting the cassette single and just being like, oh my God, like I was like it was just so ill. Like I was like, yeah, I remember at the time being like, yeah, that's the best shit I've ever heard. Like nothing's fucking with that. And just that beat is so like hard, and like I love the fact that like something so like rugged and to me is sort of a one of the defining, like so, like something that's so rugged and like that is a defining song of a certain era of hip hop, like comes from a Beatles song. Like I love that, and like yeah, that's a banger and a classic, and that's one of those records where it's like I'll get a copy, I'll sell it, and like every time like every time I get it back, I listen to it. I'm like, yeah, I really should just keep this one. Like, that's another issue with the record business is that I'll just be like, oh, I'll find it again, and then like sometimes it's forever. And then sometime eventually I'm not going to find it. So yeah, but that's definitely I like all his records, but yeah, that definitely is top tier Beatles cover material, top tier like original sample material. Um, and like one of those songs, it's not like there's definitely a lot of things that were sampled where it's like you just like I remember that it still happens where I'm like, oh, this is what they sampled for this, and like you get it, it's like a split second, and then we're like, what the fuck? Like, not that one. That song is banging all the way through. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I love everything you said about it. When it comes to Time's Up, when I first heard it, similar feeling to you, right? Like it's like magic. It's not just good, it's magic.
yeah,
It's like you're hearing someone, it was my first time hearing OC, even though I knew he was on the organized albums. I didn't
mm,
know who it was.
yeah,
And I was like, this guy has the perfect voice for this beat and it gives him space. And
hmm,
he's a devastating lyricist and he just murders that track. And it's like just perfect beat, not doing too much, giving the rapper space, and his voice complements the sounds so well. It's just
yeah.
magic. Hard to replicate that.
And I mean, it's just like it's so like to the point. Like, like it's one of those like it's like sort of one of those like, all right, like, it's like it's a declaration. Like it's just like, like you know, Dr. Dre through Ice Cube through the thing. Like it's like, like he's here, like this is what he's saying, and like yeah, at the time, like it just for what was going on in my life, like I was like dealing with like getting my pockets ran and shit in middle school and stuff like that. It was like so like to have like a song about like fake gangsters and stuff, like it was just like yeah, like their time's limited, like yeah, that song is like I remember very clearly like getting the chills the first time and I'll still like it definitely like catch me in the right moment and put that on. Like there's certain songs I'm just like, oof, like, and that definitely was that's one of them for sure.
Yeah, you said it well. Common featuring Sadat X 1999.
Banger. Um, yeah, that's a high tech beat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a masterful beat. High tech is the shit, and Sadat X also like that. There's a lot. Common is one of my favorite MCs, just period. Always has been. Um, and Sadat X is definitely up there as well. And like just because like yeah, like nobody sounds like Sadat X. Like yeah, that's just like a banger of a song. And like at the time when it came out, that was sort of when like stuff was getting really like shiny suit. And like I'm not gonna talk like I was in junior year of high school. I wasn't like in the industry, so it really doesn't matter. Like that was sort of with like would have lost faith with the industry, man. Like, but no bullshit. Like at the time, that was something I needed because even then, like I kind of felt like even the whole underground movement was starting to get a little kind of boring in a way. Like it like I am probably dating myself, but like there was a period probably from like '02, like 99, '02, where I just didn't listen to much because it just wasn't interesting to me. But that song was like one of the like that like yeah, I needed it. It was a nice infusion at the time. And yeah, that beat was yeah, just dope. Common killed it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, even then, like Raucous was like it just again like no diss to anybody. It just sort of was like just feel like mugs are kind of doing the same thing. Like a lot of like chop beats and like a lot of the same sort of like we're not whack, you are whack, and we're real. Like like it's just like all right, I get it, like cool, like so yeah, that Common is always a nice little I feel like he does that every few years for me where I'm like, thank you, where I'm like, it's something, I'm not one of these like, oh, you got like, I believe that there's a place for everything in hip hop and like, I don't hate on any kind of like, like, oh, it's mumble rap, like whatever, like it's just not made for me. It's not what I like. I don't like, I don't like it, so I don't listen to it. But, like, I do sometimes need to be reminded that like, oh, this stuff, like, the stuff that I like still is being made. And like, I know it. There's tons of it being made, and this is like I'm unaware of it sheerly from my own laziness. But yeah, I'm sort of stuck in the old record world, and like that's a tough realm to get out of. But yeah, that song 99. That was a year where I was like, I mean, I was still making music, but definitely. I mean, yeah, that was like at the start of making music, but it was definitely sort of getting kind of like, eh. And that song was like a nice punch.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a great combination between Sadat and Common, which I don't
Mm,
believe ever happened again. It was like an unusual combo.
mm,
Worked really well. Sadat X, one of my all-time favorite rappers. Super original flow, like
yeah,
unbelievably unique flow.
absolutely. And like the way like his rhyme, yeah, like it's almost like it shouldn't. No, it's not even that it shouldn't work. It like he just is so. There's nobody that sounds like Sadat X.
Yeah,
Like period.
yeah.
Like there's no like, and there's no like. Oh, it sounds kind of like Sadat X. Like no,
Nobody,
like
nobody,
and
nobody.
like it's not just the voice, but the way he constructs things is very like I was gonna say like it shouldn't work, but like that's not for me to judge, like because it is working. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't work if I or somebody else would attempt to do it the way he does, but he does it that way, and it's like, yeah, just yeah. I mean, like, yeah, the lump lump, like that whole album, like, yeah, the Sonata X solo album. That's my shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
he,
that
he
dude
he was
is,
so good. Also, no one can replicate that because his subject matter, his references, his flow, his voice. I mean, no one would be able to do that. It's just unique to
yeah,
him. No one would want to or be able to. Both. Like it's
yeah,
too
yeah.
unique. It's
Yeah, no, it's like yeah, exactly. Like there can only be one Sadat X. Like yeah, I wouldn't want to hear anybody else with that style. He's one of those MCs, and like even now, like I follow him on Instagram, but a gentleman who I know from Trenton, Divine Drummer, shout out to Divine Drummer, lives like a block away from me, and makes beats, and like he's doing work with Sadat, and I've heard clips and I was like, oh my god, like just the clips on Instagram. I'm like, damn, still like, yeah, nobody raps like that. Like, yeah, Brand Nubian, Sadat X, like, yeah, the
you
shit.
remember,
So
yeah. I mean, Brand Nubian, obviously great group. I just wanted to give him as some kind of solo solo
yeah,
focus. I
absolutely. As it, yeah, like the Brand Nubian stuff is. I mean, I love all of them. Like Grand Puba is one of my favorites as well. But like Sadat X, Brand Nubian aside, is stands on his own totally. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Do
just
you
in my mind,
remember? Do you remember this song, Biggie featuring Sadat? Come on. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Crazy record, crazy verses, unbelievable verses. And when
Yeah,
Big goes, everybody hit the DECK. I was going crazy, and I had
yeah.
it on a mixtape first. I think it was like Ron G or someone. And when Sadat X comes in, he screams, Sadat. And I was like, oh
Mm.
shit. I was so excited hearing that the first time. And that was the
Yeah.
only copy I had.
We got,
I just remember with the mixtape shout outs over it and the introduction of Sadat coming on after an insane Biggie verse. It's the best.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like yeah, those two that like that's such a like yeah, man. Actually, you throw Sadat on with anybody, I'm definitely gonna check it. But like that's one of those like I'm just curious about the like how that came together. But not, I'm sure because they're both from New York or whatever. It's some simple answer, but yeah.
So we had Nashim Myrick on this show,
Mm,
who's produced a lot for Biggie, also was kind of doing a lot of the studio management at that time.
yeah.
And when they didn't think it was suitable for an album, or they didn't
Mm,
think it was good enough, whether that's right or wrong, they
yeah.
would give it to their mixtape crew, like S&S. They had these relationships. And
Yeah.
sometimes these mixtape songs from the Bad Boy era would just be super hot, right? So it was interesting to hear his perspective on how all that shit happened.
Yeah. There are a lot of like random. I remember like rock and soul, like just like there's all sorts of weird white label things like that floating around. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's interesting, huh?
All right. I could talk music with you all day, but I have more of a life question.
Okay.
What matters to you most in this world at this time?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. Trying to, I guess, like recently my mother passed away, so that has been it's been an adjustment. Um,
Sorry, brother.
no, I appreciate it. Yeah, so I mean, I think like right now, what's most meaningful is just sort of trying to maintain some peace with the situation. Like it's like just trying to, yeah, like really what's, I mean, I guess this isn't just now, but just in general, like maintaining some peace, because like it is not always the easiest thing. And like yeah, like it's tough out there for everyone. So like I feel like um that to me, that's where like what's most important to me right now is like just trying to maintain a little bit of clarity, and uh you know giving, like allowing myself to be flexible to the things around me, and just sort of um like letting things as things come, dealing with them, and just sort of trying to stay on a level path, and not let too much of the world throw me, because it's a lot of depressing stuff going on, and a lot of people are angry. There's a lot of horrible things going on. So like, I think it's really important for everyone to sort of like try to find the peace where they can, because there is, it's finite, and our time here is finite, and yeah, like just yeah, like at the end of the day, like what's most like you can't do anything if you yourself are unwell, and like you can't, like, so maintain your peace. Like things happen, just that to me is like what I'm telling myself, and what's most meaningful is like just maintain your peace, and like things happen, things are like like everything is cyclical. Like it's some things are bad, some things are good. It goes up and down. Just try to go with the flow. Be like water, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, the peace. Yeah, that's so lame. God, like,
Oh
that's
man.
such like a that's
Oh,
such
man.
like a cookie cutter thing. But yeah, that to me, like honestly, that is what's most meaningful. And like, yeah, and getting records, man. Like getting the music and passing it along, and it's still finding enjoyment in that. Like, yeah,
Thanks
definitely.
for sharing that, man. I think it's really vulnerable of you, and you never know who's going to benefit from that, whoever's listening. So I
Well,
really appreciate you sharing what's on your mind.
thanks, man. Yeah. I feel like I've rambled a little bit here. Like if we were meeting, we are meeting, but like if we were in person, yeah, I talk the same. This isn't me being nervous. I'm just a little. I tend to ramble. I'm
You
sorry.
got a lot of good things to say, brother. Thanks
Thanks,
for
man.
being on the show. I really appreciate it. And this was a pleasure. I loved having you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. And hit me up off the podcast. It'd be great talking. Yeah.
Uh,
Come out. Next time you're in New York, let me know. Like, wait, are you in the city now?
yeah, I'm in New York right
Okay.
now.
Oh,
Upper West.
oh. All right. Yeah, I was, because I saw pictures of you in Toronto, and I was like, yeah, my girlfriend was like, "Where's he from?" I'm like, the East Coast. So like, I'm not sure. So all right, well, I will let you know. Next time I'm in the city, man. We'll do a dig. Or if you're coming out to Jersey, please let me know.
For sure. Peace.
All right, man. Peace.